Welcome to the IME Community Podcast, where self-love is your superpower to achieve your weight and life goals and make your mark in the world. Your host is Dr. Karla, activist, MD. If you're a teen who's looking to revolutionize your health and can't wait to follow your dreams, welcome to the IME community.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited you're here. So today's podcast is titled, Are You Me? And we're going to continue as a part 2, talking about self-judgment. And we talked about that in the last podcast. And I thought we just keep moving with this theme. It's just so important, and make this a part 2, like a sequel, which, sequels aren't always as good as the first one, but this one will be, I promise. So I want to share with you more about self-judgment that happens when we feel like others are judging us. And for this podcast, I do want to clarify that I'm not talking about bullying, because it's obviously not a neutral issue and that has to be called out and be addressed. But what I'm talking about in this podcast is the pain that we create for ourselves when we choose to think that we're constantly being judged by others. And what I want to tell you is that, and this is just really hard for us. This is really hard for me, even, as an adult, an older adult at this point, to really get and understand. Maybe it's because I am older, it's harder, but I think it's hard for all of us. And that's that what anyone else says or does is actually a circumstance and is neutral. And so what does a circumstance mean? It just means that it's a reality that happened. It's a fact. We can prove it, that they said it or that they behaved in a certain way. And we think that it's whatever that person says or does or how they look at us that we feel like is triggering some thought that, they're judging me, and we make it mean something and they're causing me to feel a certain way, but it's actually not what they say or do, though that can be a triggering event for sure in our lives. It's our thoughts about what they said or did that create a feeling. That's what drives our actions to make what we think someone else is doing, saying, or thinking mean about us as an individual. And come on, are you me? No, they have no idea what's going on in your mind, and you have no idea what's going on in their mind, right? In fact, we really have no idea what anyone else's experience, thoughts, what they're thinking about us, right? We're completely powerless over that. That's really good news. Because the flip side of that is everyone else is powerless over you. So I'm someone who likes to fix and control and solve and think sometimes, I know best, and my ego has to get it right. And I just fall into that side of things a lot. And I think, no, that's just not living in the reality that I'm powerless over others. Maybe I didn't really like to learn that I'm powerless over others. But then when I learned they're powerless over me, and I could say, are you me? Clearly not. That was exciting. And I'm not talking about your parents or teachers or any of the rules that, we follow in our lives. I'm talking about the fact that other people are powerless over your thoughts and feelings and actions and results. So that's really cool, because you can learn to own all of that. And that's as you're see, you all have such an awesome reason for not getting there and for just learning this and developing that skill set, because you are still developing and growing and reaching your, over time, working to move toward whether you take responsibility for all that. And some of us, like even me, I mean, we all get stuck in blaming and being a victim and being stuck in what's called emotional childhood. So anyway, so if others are powerless over you and you get to own your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and results, what about it feels really real that other people are judging me sometimes or judging you? You may feel like that. And the fact of the matter is we're humans, right? It's more complex than this. And we want to fit in. We want others' approval. So when someone else says something or acts in a certain way, or we just think they're judging us, maybe they have a look on their face, we think if only they knew the real me, or maybe I could change, then I wouldn't be judged and nobody would be judging me and I wouldn't have to feel this painful feeling that I'm feeling. So sometimes it blindsides you when you think, I'm having a good day and I'm just going about my day, hum, 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 hum. And the thought that they're judging me just kind of comes up and it's like, oh. And then that can cause you to have a feeling of maybe judging yourself and then your actions. And you think, did I do something wrong? Did I cause this? How can I control this? And how can I fix this? And then what happens is you're just going along your day, You're just like a river following its path, doing great, having a great day. And then all of a sudden, you're just jumping out of your own lane. You're jumping out of that river and you're running backwards or you're going upstream. You're jumping out of your life. You're jumping out of your power. And you're trying to convince and defend. And you're wasting your time. Hey, they may be judging you. Who knows? You're a human. You judge other people. We talked about this last time on the podcast about self-judging. Like it's not going to go away. I didn't call it Stop Self-Judging for that podcast because we know that self-judging thoughts are always going to come up. We're going to judge people. People judge us. We don't, we can't control that. But we can soften those up. And we can do better and we can move to show up as our better, best self, our higher self, as the person who is our true self, who moves to where we want to be and how we want to show up. We can note that those are just thoughts. Remember, clouds going by, noting sentences in our mind, and choose not to give any thoughts that don't serve you power. So, and all we have to do, the good news, here's another bit of good news. All we have to do to pull the plug on the power of those non-serving beliefs is to recognize when and how they come up for us. And we talked about that in the last podcast. Oh, here's another thing to know that I learned that's super helpful. Usually when we are judging someone, we're actually judging ourselves. So let that be kind of a helpful indicator to you, okay? You can start to notice when you're judging someone else, and you can drop that like a book, okay? You can just like drop it and move on. That's the kind of learning or tool that you can create for yourself because it really doesn't serve you. Because what happens is when you're judging others, it means you're headed into comparison land. And that's like in Candyland where you get sent backwards, like to the start, which I hate it when that happens. And you're like almost there to the end and you're going to win against your sibling, and then all of a sudden you get set back to the start. And it feels really good sometimes to judge other people. It's like that itch, we just got to scratch it. it's like, oh, up and to the right, a little bit higher. And that's a spot. And I'm going to keep going and keep judging until I get it right. Oh, that feels so good. But all you have to do is recognize that is very short-lived relief, right? That itch being scratched, it's a short-lived relief. It's going nowheresville, right? That's the train stop that judging of others is landing nowheresville. It'll be like, okay, this is not helpful, and everybody else is going along with their day, ho hum, and having a great day. And the reason is it's going nowhere is because you're judging. It means nothing to them, most likely. And it has no effect on their life at all. They're going to say, are you me? Clearly you are not. So it's just a waste of your time, right? Okay. But it's going to come up, and just recognize it. And you're human. You're going to have judging thoughts. You're going to judge others. You're going to have self-judging thoughts. That's okay. There's nothing going wrong. Once you recognize it, then you can drop it like a book and it loses its power. Okay. So when you're really triggered, like some days you're just like, oh my gosh, I just really feel like this is a day when I've been judged or somebody said something or behaved in a certain way, and you're just like activated. It's like almost feels like it's in your body and you're super tense. So what I want you to do is you're just, again, building these tools up for yourself that you can use, okay? Because this is your amazing life. And I want you to have all of these amazing tools so that you can live your amazing life, okay? So you have to put this work in for yourself, and you are worthy of this work. So when you're triggered, with lots of compassion and grace for yourself, take a pause. And remember, that's like hand over the heart, nurturing, self-compassion, how you can break up some of that triggering, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, or out through the nose again to calm, okay? You can challenge if you have a thought, they're judging me, is that true? How would I even know that? How would I know? I don't. Or is this a story that I just keep telling myself? Can I prove this? No, I can't. So this is a story. This isn't an actual fact. I'm not in their brain. Thank goodness. So don't spend too much time, giving your power over and thinking and believing that other people are judging you when maybe they are, but the reality is you have no idea. And it's only your thoughts about whatever anybody says or how they act or how you believe they're thinking that create any sort of feeling for you. So when you've created some awareness that this is what kind of keeps happening. So it may even be like a pattern for you when you're going to school or work or with your family or something like that, or out and you just out and about, or with your friends, and you just feel like I'm being judged, and just notice that's just a pattern in your brain. That's just a thought that keeps coming up that you choose to keep believing. Okay. And there's power in that awareness. We've talked about that. That breaks it up a little bit. Okay. Because we're not going to change the world. We're not going to prevent everybody from judging us, because we're all humans and we all do that to each other. So it's just natural. But you for yourself can create your own tools in your own way to lighten up and soften up on the self-judging, and also notice when you're judging others and move to show up as your true best self. When you've created some awareness that this is what kind of keeps happening, you can acknowledge it, you can recognize it, you can create a pause, you can say, I'm powerless over others. I didn't cause this. I don't control it. And I also want to tell you, I'm not saying you shouldn't have boundaries that keep you safe or in a healthy place. And I also know that what other people say can be triggering in a maybe a good, bad, or neutral way, they can trigger a thought that creates a feeling, but it's always the thought about what they said or what you're making it mean about yourself that creates whatever feeling you're having. So the other thing I want to tell you, and I don't want you wasting your time on, convincing people who you are and defending yourself, right? Say, are you me? Clearly you are not. Say, I am me. I fully love and accept myself. I have my self-acceptance warm blanket. That's all you need. Okay? You don't need to be convincing them. You don't need to be changing. If you need to set a boundary with someone, that's different, obviously. You can be clear with other people and set some boundaries. And like if you have a friend who's saying things that you feel like you don't like and it's triggering thoughts like they're judging me, or you just don't have a feeling of goodwill, or other people in your, classmates or whatever, you can set those boundaries, and maybe you will decide eventually, like, I don't want to be friends with them, and I don't feel like I want to hang out, because maybe you'll decide you'd rather find people to hang out with who are more in line with how you treat people and how you are and the kind of friend you are, which makes sense. And you get to decide that. You get to be yourself. There are those people out there, and you get to really love that choice, okay? Here are the 3 top, in my mind, most helpful life coaching teachings that I've learned. And all of life coaching for me, I think, is transformational. But these 3 things are super helpful. And number 1, just what are you making it mean? When someone else says something, when they do something, when maybe you feel like they're judging you, ask yourself, what am I making this mean? Number 2, and I just love this so much, let them be who they are. You can't control it. You're not in their mind. Let them be who they are. Let them be who they are. The third thing, and these aren't in any order of importance, is just let them be wrong about you. Let them be wrong about you. It's okay. You know who you are. I am me. I fully love and accept myself. They can be wrong about me. That's all you have to say. The power is in you as an individual accepting yourself no matter what. And then there's also power in a community that you seek out that fully loves and accepts you no matter what. That's why I create IME community. So it's like Mr. Rogers said, to find your helpers. And I'm going to encourage you to seek out your communities in 2021. And when you wear that warm self-acceptance blanket and you have your mantra, I am me, I fully love and accept myself. Self-love is my superpower. There's absolutely nothing you can't do. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the IME Community Podcast, where self-love is your superpower. The content of this podcast represents the opinions of Dr. Karla Lester and is not intended as, and shall not be understood as, a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. The opinions shared reflect the host and guest and do not represent an organization or medical group. Always seek the advice of your physician or therapist if you have concerns about your health. And please, like and subscribe to the IME Community Podcast. Share IME with your friends and go to imecommunity.com to join the member community. Don't forget to follow IME on social.